Hello and welcome to Channel Sport on Sunday. Jimmy just said, I asked him, are you Sinner the poet? He said, no, he's a Sinner the sinner. This sinner has sinned again. The guy tell you this, back-to-back Australian Open added to the US Open. 3 times he's in the finals, is in the kitty. And for Alexander Zverev, the German, at 27, he has played 3 finals. He lost the US Open to Dominic Thiem, lost the French Open to Carlos Alcaraz, and he has just lost the Australian Open. Yes, to Yannick, #1 in the world, Sinner. How do you get out of this? Probably he should just look at the chapter in the book. In the book of Andy Murray, who, when it was getting that, he said, I'm getting closer and closer and closer. He ended up winning 3 Grand Slams. Let's hope that Alexander Zverev, among his peers then, that they came up together. We're looking at Medvedev, we're looking at Dominic Thiem, we're looking at, Nick Kyrgios, a lot of them there, and see if this man will one day, he has won the ATP finals, will he win a Grand Slam? Will he win the French Open where he lost in the final to Carlos Alcaraz last year? Or is he going to win, the US Open? Probably. Grass, I don't know. He's yet to make that inroad into the top 4 in grass court at Wimbledon. But losing this, should be very, very painful. That is for Sinner, and that is for Zverev. But then the beautiful story, has to be that of Madison Keys. Guys, you ladies, sometimes you say, men, look, get a man in your life. Man, it is a blessing when you are married. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to go that route. But then because they started a relationship right there in 2017. In 2017, he got into a relationship, with his current husband, Fratangelo. Yes, Fratangelo. And they started in 2017, and that 2017, when the relationship started, she got into the finals of the US Open and lost to Sloane Stephens. Then last year, November the 23rd to be precise, 2024, they got married and said, this is the best weekend of my life. And said, why don't we go to Australia? And you coach me. And she said, no, I don't want to be part of that. She said, I twisted his arms, and the best husband in the world followed her to Australia. Let me tell you this. She was knocking out all the seeds. Probably apart from Elena Svitolina, who is ranked, of course, was ranked because I decided for the championship, who was ranked 28. She knocked out number 10, Darren Collins. She knocked out Elena Rybakina. She knocked out Iga Swiatek, the number 2, and she didn't beat the number 5 seeds she made. That route was not a soft one. That route was a thorny one, but she got there, and there she is celebrating her first slam in her second final. She thought it will never happen. 2017 to 2024, 2025, that is 8 years, and then here she is celebrating. All that is good. I love the background inside. That look like is that a sea or something like water? Something like water in the back there. It looks so serene. It looks so beautiful. It looks so wonderful. And that is the new Australian Open, the 5th United States women to win this title, and it is so good for her. She thought she would never make it. Arena Sabalenka, she was going for a 3-peat. She was going to back to back world #1. We're already anticipating her playing Iga Swiatek in the final, but it was not to be because the one and only Madison Keys came out to do that. Madison Keys, I think when we went with in 2017, then I think when she got to the semi-finals after beating Venus to play Serena, and Serena was saying, look, I'm happy that another American will be here. One of us will be in the final, an African American. She said, I am in the middle. I don't see myself as African American or a white American. Of course, the mother is white, but the father is black. Today we look at tennis in general. We are privileged that we'll be having two guests, and they will join us to talk tennis. But before then, in the house, I have Jimmy and I have the Catalan, Tio Agbonao. Tio, how do you see her You have your trends. Do you have your trends?
Of course, we'll get to the trends. But on Madison Keys, I think one of the toughest routes to a Grand Slam win for the 29-year-old, and she talked about the fact that she had these heavy expectations placed on her shoulders as a 19 when she broke through. I think it was about 10 years ago, and coming all the way and getting it done. At this stage, I'm so happy for her. But my own favorite, obviously, was Sabalenka, where we saw during the week, and I told you, I hope that she would have gotten it, but it was rather unfortunate.
All right. Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, last week I do remember that we talked about Sabalenka in pole position.
Yeah.
We didn't even mention Madison.
Nobody mentioned.
But right now, what we have is the bridesmaid, the cheap bridesmaid becoming the beautiful bride.
Yeah.
And it's so lovely to see what she's been able to accomplish with all of our travels, struggling, injuries, getting into finals and not being able to make it. But right now, she's the beautiful one. She will be, world number 7 by the time the rankings are being released. And it's so good to hear what she's been able to do. And she does it in a very quiet manner.
In a quiet manner.
She doesn't do it like all the grunters and the moaners.
I did tell you that we're going to have 2 guests in the house. It is a pleasure to have them here to talk tennis. One of them was asking me today, Ken, which is your favorite sport that you like to, want to conscript you into tennis? Let us see which of them is ready so that we can take them around. My guys, the NCR, where do we go to? Are we going to Florida or we are going to Atlanta first? Where do we go to?
Go to Florida.
You had the voice. I tell you this, she's looking so cute. She's looking so serene when she wakes up at 3 a.m. in the morning in Atlanta, Georgia. You see, sometimes some people say, look, Ken, somebody called me, what did he call me? Somebody called me a name today. Did he call me Dracula or something? That I didn't say anything because he said, this is your face. You must be something. But we have a champion in the house. We have a pace setter in the house. We have an educationist in the house. We have a coach in the house. We have a mentor with us. But let me ask her this before I start. It's like, I don't know, because growing up, there is this Oba from Owo, Olatero Lagbegi. I don't know. How are you? Are you related, madam?
That's my father.
She is a princess. I tell you this. Where do you want to start from talking about Rolake Olagbegi? Where do you want to start from? I mean, we'll just reel out all these things there. She is the first Nigerian woman to play a professional tennis, from Nigeria. She is the very first. She is the first woman to win gold and silver. You understand? The first Nigerian woman to win gold and silver at the All Africa Games, and she's out in Kenya. You're looking at how she's the first Nigerian, male or female, to win an ATP tournament at the Hard Court. She was the champion I tell you, for 7 good years. The Nigerian tennis woman champion. I don't know. She is a doctor of criminology. So she's reading your mind. Don't think you just go over there and she'll not know what you are doing. She had the daunting task of making sure that a state that has never won a medal in tennis at the National Sport Festival, they went for 5, they won 4 gold medals. Whatever she touches turns to gold. She has a Midas touch. But let us start. We're not starting from Florida. We are starting from Australia. We have the pleasure and honor to have her in the house, Dr. Rolake Olagbegi. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, it's morning. I like that you're already in tune with us in Nigeria.
Yes.
When I tried to send a message that I said, I hope you have watched your face because I disturbed her all night, and there she is, all new. Let's look at us. Let's look at Australia. Let's look at Australia. And what did you see? We're just talking about Madison Keys, our journey. And how today, after, in 8 years, when she went to her first final, nobody taught her 19th seed, and there she is as the champion. What does it feel like being a champion for the very first time?
You have to have the will. Like this is you have to be in a stage like this is my last game forever, and this is the chance. It's either now or not or never. Like she said, she went in playing her best. The last time she said she lost in the finals, she said she didn't come in with her best. So this time around, she said she was like, let me play my best even if I lose. And she eventually won. So in situations like that, you have to play like it's your last game. And how do you get there? It's by winning 1 point at a time. Just putting 1 point at a time. And when I coach, I usually tell them, be the last one to bring in the last stroke in. You want to be the one to win the last point. And you keep calculating little by little, one at a time.
Little by little, one at a time. Now, we are still on this. Can you remember your very first title, the first title that you won? How old were you then?
I was the oldest Olagbegi to start tennis. Usually we start at 4, especially the boys. And I've been athletic before until there was a cousin of mine who also played tennis, and he thought I didn't have talent. So I went from volleyball, clowning on the tennis court with my brothers. They were in the camp. And so one of my brothers just said, oh, Rolly has a potential. So this cousin of mine was like, no, she doesn't have. So I overheard it. And so when we got home, I asked my brother, and my brother was like, no, that's not what he said. I said, I heard him. So I went back and kept practicing with my brothers. He was just trying to prove to him, like, listen, you are not God. It's only God that can tell me what I cannot do. So that's how I got into tennis.
They said they wanted to discourage you, that she doesn't have the talent, but you have to show that you have the talent. Okay, let's move from Atlanta. Let's go to Florida and meet Prof. Prof is waiting for us right there in Atlanta. We have and that is, you see, both Prof Asade Kabdahi and Dr. Rola Kolabege, they were Nigerian junior champions. They started right there, from being from the grassroots, and then moved on to become champions. In those days, we used to have the Ogbe Hard Court, we have the Dala, we have the Dala Cup in Kaduna, we have in Enugu, we have the Lord Romans in Lagos, a lot of tennis, Okada. In fact, Okada also in Benin, came in later in years. Prof. Hello, Prof. Are we seeing you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Prof, let me ask you this. Does this sound like nostalgia when you go back 30 years back, and then you come back today and you are looking for the courts before you look for the kids? What was it like then, and what compared to now?
Wow. Yes, nostalgia indeed. Thank you for having both of us. I'm going to go back to the days, our junior days, when we had a lot of junior tournaments in Nigeria. I was the national junior under 14 champion in Lagos before I moved down to Kaduna. And 3 years at 14. At 17, I won the West African junior championship, right? As a junior. So going back, that was how we all started, and we had a lot of junior tournaments. So going back 45 years is a good feeling that today, the princess and I are here talking about tennis, so which is a good thing.
Yourself and Princess are talking here, and then at least you must have been in camp together. You must have been in Nigerian camp together at that time. The camaraderie and all that things. there also used to be a strong school sport as at then. You are a professor at the, Florida International University. The kind of facilities you have at Florida International University, do we have them here in Nigeria, or do we used to have them right there? At the time that you guys were playing grassroots tennis when you were being discovered.
Yeah, before that though, I want to. Princess and I went to the All African Games in Kenya, I believe.
Yes.
And I lost in the finals. To Baron Black from Zimbabwe.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've been together ever since. Representing Nigeria. So I think I need to clear that. Now, talking about facilities, I'm also not only affiliated with the university, I'm affiliated with the secondary schools here, where we have all the secondary facilities, for kids who are 14 to 18. So the facilities are there for athletes, to practice, but the system is a little bit different. I mean, the progression from a primary school to secondary school to the university, it is well organized here, and that's what is lacking in Nigeria.
Okay, let us go back to Atlanta. Let us go out to meet Princess. Let us go back to Atlanta to meet her. Before you became the first black woman in Georgia, to reach the finals of the City Open, right there. I mean, we're talking about here. We just mentioned we had called Okada, Lord Rumens. We just, a lot of these things. Even Lagos Lawn Tennis Club. These were almost from the private sector.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? Is it on the debt of the private sector not, bringing in their funds, or government, positive fund on the part of government? That is why we do not have the facilities and facilitators and trainers that will get us towards getting our own Madison Keys, Arena Sabalenka, Yannick Sinner. That it look ages, because I look at you guys, there was tennis. After you, where is the tennis?
We're not as rich as the United States.
Yeah.
However, we have to crawl before we walk. We can start by the grassroots of every state-by-state government, and thinking about it. How do I think we can achieve that? At least a state government ought to have a public park, not just for tennis, where children can just stop by and play tennis and take a walk and play basketball and play volleyball, at least in one city, whereby they don't have to pay for it. Not everyone can afford the club, the private club. So, for example, you can have one in my state, in Akure. Maybe let's just start from the state capital. Then little by little, then you have one in the big cities. So anyone can just want to distress, can try to step out of the house and do something. Because I noticed, and I don't want to go into that one, that's another problem I figured out while visiting Nigeria last month. Otherwise, Nigeria will be raising more criminals, because you ought to have something to do. But let's come back to tennis. If we can have a public park where these children can just go, even if they want to clown on the tennis court, the next day they come back and redo it. And unlike now, for you to have a good facility, you have to go to a private tennis club. We need places like National Stadium, whereby you don't have to pay, you don't have to take any permission to go there and play with your child, your grandchild. Men can just come in and distress and play. We ought to have public parks like that, in my own opinion.
You've just said something silently, but we got your message. We don't have to pay. Our young ones don't have to pay to enter the national stadium or any stadium at all in order to go and hone their trade. I want to go back to Professor Sadiq Abdullahi. Let's go back to Florida because my guys will also throw one or two questions here. Prof, are you there? Are you back with us?
I am here. Yeah, right. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I just went through, my guys just went through the phone just now, and they showed me something. They said London has around 3,000 tennis courts. London, not England, not UK. London has around 3,000 tennis courts in London. In the north. Let me say, in the last 15 years or so, or 20, we've known you to be, part of the think tank with some of the ministers of sports in Nigeria. Should this be? Are we having one in your discussions with them and every other persons that are there around? Are we looking at, first of all, like what a princess just said now, putting the facilities. The counties, London has over 3,000 courts. I'm not UK, about 200 and something thousand. Where you want to go at 250 something thousand of courts and grounds. Now, are we saying that it has been top down and not bottom up in your policy formulation, where the local governments and the rest of them all and individuals are encouraged to have, courts and other sporting facilities instead of waiting for the federal government to come and do it? What is your take on this, sir?
Oh, absolutely. Very, very good question and very broad. But let me break it down, right? And then I'm going to go back to my interaction with the ministers, starting from Sani Indanusa in 2009, to Enoch, right, recently, and then now to the chairman of the current chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, right? On this topic of facilities and what do we need to do. And then let's go back to the 3,000 tennis courts in London, and then go back, look at the tennis facilities in the US, which is more locally done. Here in the US, that the local government are the ones that are taking care of those facilities. Now, to answer your questions in Nigeria, yes, we lack enough facilities to allow kids or to give them access to play tennis or to play any sports. We just don't have that. The issue of funding has always been the problem with my discussion with all of the ministers. And then now that we're having a new direction, thanks to the vision of the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, right? So we hope that we will address some of these the challenges facing facilities across the board. We will be working with the private sector as well as the government part in order to create more for this. So we're having a conversation about constituency, the role of the NAS members in trying to help out with facilities. But again, like the princess said, it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost time. It's going to cost us to invest and we have to be deliberate in how we go about trying to give young kids access in playing tennis. Like the issue of mass participation in America and elsewhere. She said it. They can go to the park at their own free will and then play, and eventually somebody will see them, and then now after that, then they'll start getting coaching. That is where the issue, in terms of tennis, as we all know, tennis is very, very expensive, right? So because it's expensive, it has to be deliberate. It has to be, and then again, the schools will be the proper channel where we can get tennis back.
Prof, in just a minute or two before we go back to Atlanta, I'm going to ask this question. Your son plays tennis. Is it basketball?
Yeah, basketball.
Your son plays basketball. What is the route that he has taken to be where he is?
That's very good. He's playing for Princeton University. Right? The route is a private route and not the public route, right? Similarly in tennis, because it's very expensive. He went to a private school, and the private school has a lot of money, and therefore they are constantly monitoring them and giving them top-notch coaching and everything that they need. We don't have that. So we have to develop a program or a system that will allow athletes that are talented in Nigeria, in Africa, so that they can go through that route where they come in, and then it has to be well planned, and we're working on that.
Okay, briefly, let me still stay with you just briefly. I want to go back to the question I asked you before. In your interaction with the former ministers, did you people ever discuss facilities and what were their dispositions? If you can share with us, each of them, what you think that this is what they thought, what would have done, because if we have about 5-6 ministers and we are still where we are, then it has been all motion and no movement.
Exactly. I've expressed that to each one of them. And my best, of course, is Sunday Dare. Sunday Dare, to me, brought in intellectualism and professionalism in listening to me and giving me opportunity to really be part of the sports industry policy that we wrote. So the document has everything in there as we speak. Of course, we have to look at it and try to amend. Now, let me go back to Sani Ndanusa, for tennis now. And I don't want to, blame to go back, and say, look, he should have done this and that. But he was the president of the Tennis Federation at that time. Yes. He was the president of the the Nigerian Olympic committee at that time. And he was the minister at that time. We've had several conversations in his home in Abuja regarding what needs to be done. So that's number one. So he should have set the pace for us, right? Okay, then after that, I had extensive conversation with Bolaji Abdullahi, who flew me in, with the Nkeji, Patrick Ikeji and Alassane. And then we'll talk about the high performance generally for the country in 2013. And then we agree on how that is going to go. And of course, funding was a problem. Right, all of them are alive today. So now move forward, to Dallon. Dallon and I did not have too much interaction, but on the phone we talked about it, and of course he said he was going to restructure the national sports federations, and he did a little bit of that. Then came Sunday Dare. Sunday Dare was always going to be the best. He gave me an opportunity. I met him twice in 2019, and I met him again in 2021, right? And then we've been talking about what needed to be done, and he even assured me, that keep what you're doing, that eventually the pieces will come together. We talked about the National Sports Commission as coming in, and then of course it came to fruition. So what we need to do now, okay? The idea of reset, refocus, and then relaunch, right, need to be conceptualized well, and then the design that will come with it, because in that plan, they have a plan for restructuring of the National Sports Federation. How is that going to come out? The state association must be involved. The local government, now we have local government autonomy coming up, right? The local council must be coming up. Then the state council or state sports commission, must also get in the conversation about resetting. Okay, so that's number one. Then, of course, we can go to refocus and then relaunching. The relaunching is very critical because my conversation with Shehu Diko now is how do we change the mindset of of people who have given up on Nigeria for a long time. I've been in this business for 35 years. I remember I used to criticize my father, Adejumo, who was also tennis and then the NOC president, right? 35 years ago, right? So now the opportunity for Raw to rebuild across the board. So
probably,
the grassroots.
Probably we shouldn't go back to tennis federation to have NOC president, because if Adejuma was there and Danusa was there and they were all tennis people and they were ministers and they were NOC president and whatever, and then we did not have, and we have nothing to show for it. We are now, like I said, we are looking back and said, look, that was the golden era. Let's go to Atlanta. Let's go to Atlanta, please. Let's go to Atlanta. Let's go to Atlanta. Princess, our champion. I want to have your, I want to get to you on this. I mean, we spent so much time with Prof in Florida. Is Princess there? Is Princess there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Let's get your personal experience with, I mean, some of one or two governors that interacted with, both probably in Ondo and probably also in Delta. What has been your personal experience? You've been spending your money and your time, I don't want to say this on air, in order, to see that kids get up the street and then they get, their talent, use their talent. And there's a lot of them who are all over there in the US who have scholarships because of your personal effort. But let's see, you have interacted with a few governors in Nigeria. What has been your experience in terms of facilities and facilitators?
First of all, just to say something about Nigerians. I'm not criticizing anyone, but I've always believed that there's always a saying that do not expect, so you won't be disappointed. It has always been one of my keys. How do I know this? When I was playing professional tennis, Odizo played, Sadiq played, Imonite played. A lot of us wrote out to banks, to sponsors. Personally, I didn't get one. I was looking to my folder. I wrote over to 30 banks, and they didn't sponsor. They prefer sponsoring a tournament. So I don't expect them, and I'm no longer disappointed. That's number one, because if we're waiting for our government, we'll wait till tomorrow. Tennis is not number one sport in Nigeria. However, we've always contributed to the limelight of Nigerian sports. I don't believe in waiting for our government. They know what to do. Our former Nigerian ITF president is a tennis player, Olympics chairman and all that. I'm not criticizing him. I just found out that these people will promise they won't do nothing. So I don't go to him. I don't go to them. However, we have so many rich, what I believe in is we have so many rich people in Nigeria.
Individuals, yeah.
And a lot of rich people do not believe in giving. Either you believe it or not. They don't believe in giving for a good cause. They'll go to parties and spray and do all that. One of them can afford to build a tennis court in their hometown, in their villages. They can do that easily. But have they done it? No. That's on the side. Secondly, the way I look at Nigeria right now, 9 out of 10 boys are on drugs. When I interview them, there's nothing to do. If you were to be a country that has public parks, some of them will go there and shoot basketball, volleyball, play soccer, play tennis, districts. Now they are going into drugs. And we're in trouble if we don't come back this right now. That's number one. And that's an advantage of having public parks where these people can easily go to. There are no jobs for them. So someone who doesn't have a job, at least if you can exercise somewhere, maybe you meet somebody, maybe you fall in love with that sport, and that straightens your mind and distresses you. That's another one. I've worked with states like River State. When Amici was there, I coached the team for the sports festival and we won. Governor Amici, put in their hearts to it. And our late brother, the one time, Tony Harry was a giver. He gave so many scholarships to tennis players. I mean, no matter where you're from, if you're good in tennis, he will sponsor you. He was sponsoring them, people like that. And so I've always worked. Then I worked with Governor Oduaye in Delta State. Oduaha in Delta State.
Yeah.
We won 4 out of 5 gold medals. And it wasn't just the governor being in love with tennis. He plays tennis. It was the people surrounding him too. The senators, the officials in Delta. I'll be coaching players and you see a senator just come around and say, Coach, I'm going to send my driver to you. I'll send a check to the players, let them play a round robbery and do this and do that. The officials, the senators, the rich people in Delta, they support sports. I witnessed it. So if we have the type of people, and I'm not surprised why Delta is winning. They have more, how many stadiums did I see there? They have more stadiums than Lagos State. So we need to emulate states like Delta states. They will always win because of the money they put into sports, the attention they give to sports also. So those are the things that are preventing us from having all these champions. Individuals can build a tennis court in a hometown. The rich people can build tennis courts and write the tax up. Dangote can build us a stadium without even thinking about it. Who else is rich over there? Your $10, I don't know them. But if they're hearing us, can they come to our aid, especially in tennis and some other sports? I don't believe in waiting for one government. And another thing why you can't wait for a governor or the rest of it, a governor might be there for maybe 8 years. And in a situation with Delta, one governor likes tennis and sports. The next governor is not so keen on sports. So do you keep going back and forth, high and low and the rest of it? We need to have a fund that we can use consistently, regardless of which governor is there, which president is there. And the president needs to look into all sports too. It's just not soccer. We love soccer. Soccer will always be #1 sports in Nigeria. However, tennis is more expensive than soccer.
Jimmy has a question for you.
Yeah, actually, I have a question for the prof.
Okay.
But I also think that
Princess can answer it.
Princess can answer that question.
Okay.
I followed Prof for quite some time. Ever since the Indanusa days, I realized that, yes, he's very much vested. But the question would be, apart from someone like Princess Rolake, which other ex-internationals, the likes of David Imonite, Luka Odizo, Michael Moore, which of them are disvested? And why are they not able to use the ex-international model to try and, galvanize support for the sport? Chief Segun Odegbami and JJ Okocha, the two of them actually go to the courts to play tennis. Prof knows this so well. So why can't they?
The Rolake, I mean, also, you have what he said. Let's stay with Princess first briefly before we go to Prof.
Yeah,
Prof,
exactly.
just wait. Let Princess take that first. Princess, do your seniors and your juniors in the you're all former internationals who represent Nigeria. Do you come together? Do you have a forum where you look at these challenges and then you try to provide solution on what to do about them?
I'm the youngest of all of them, and if they're hearing me, the last time we had a meeting, and it was only one time in Houston, that was over, Prof, that's been over 15 years ago.
Wow.
However, Prof has his own platform on tennis. Odizo has his own platform on tennis. Oh. So the bottom line is, and if they're hearing this, I love them to pieces. They will always be my big brothers. They have to come together. Presently, our own dish was in our family. When I say our family, I mean tennis family.
Yes.
They have to come together and be in one. Okay, one of them has to agree to be either the president. There are so many ways of being a leader. Maybe you are good in business aspect of it. Maybe altogether you are good in leadership. I'm the one that acts like the mother of all of them. I don't like my brothers to have a beef or fight, or so usually they call me small mother. I don't like them fighting, but they have to agree. Okay, for example, you could say Ken is going to be the first president the first 4 years. Let him rule. Then maybe the next person will rule for another. It doesn't matter. Like in my own family, Olateral Olagbegi, we're over 100. Who is the president? My baby brother, who is like 30. And we still have some people who are 80, who are 90. It's not about age. We all have to come together and say, okay, where are you good? Leadership. Are you good in the business aspect of it? Presently, we're not. They have their own platform. I belong to both platforms as a small mother. We have to come together. And these people are the ones that are in limelight that the whole world knows. Tony Moore's son is on the circuit.
Yeah.
We have too many talents in tennis, but we have to come together and for one good cause. Sadiq is doing wonderful job. Odizo is trying to bring the junior ones together too, but we have to come under one umbrella. That's my little piece about it. We have to come together. We're not together.
Okay.
We are not.
Prof, do we buy you an umbrella from Nigeria? And you just had Princess. You need an umbrella that accommodate all of you. 15 years ago. I don't know. 15 years ago was the last time you guys met. What is the schism? What is keeping you apart? Briefly tell us, because we are running out of time. Yes.
Odizo is about to have one. Odizo is proposing for a meeting in February in Houston.
Okay.
So we don't.
All right, that's good. Prof, you are the Akọ̀wé of the group. So what is happening? I mean, if the family is not as one, how can you succeed? We are here to see an ex-professional being the president of the Nigerian Lawn Tennis Association. Yes. Yes. Prof, briefly, because we are, so that we can wrap this thing up. Briefly, what do we do? How do we come together?
Well, yes. I think a family together. Well, there's benefit when families stay together, even despite all of the problems, So more Imonite, Nduka Odizo, Abdullahi, and Ladipo are the flag bearers, of tennis, of the future of tennis, right? Ladipo is younger, right? So that generation. So what we're trying to do is, again, we're going to start with this program. You've started something. I'm sure it's going to get to Nduka, Tony Moore, Imonite, and all of that, right? There's a need for us. Princess is our mother, right? She's going to try to bring us together. And with the new dispensation, right? I'm optimistic, that yes, we will come together and come up with a plan. Remember, election is coming up with the National Sports Federation. So that's going to give us an opportunity to talk. I am in touch with the DG of the National Sports Commission, the chairman of the National Commission. Actually, I've sent them ideas on how to reform and all of that. So with this new thinking, my role as a professor is to bring people together, right? I've done my part, and then create an enabling or a sustainable foundation for what Princess is saying, right? But hey, you're gonna bring us together. I will get to them, madam, and then bring everybody here. Let the great, players, let them talk to Nigerians about this problem. So that's a challenge to Channel TV and your host. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, Princess, before we go, your last word on this?
Just like the Prof have said, and I want to thank my brother who brought this up on your platform. My gentle brother sitting next to you. We have to come together. We have to solicit fund. I belong to Prof's platform, and Ken, you are also there too. I'm silent there because my own strategy is I don't believe in just waiting for the government. We have to do our own part. We have to solicit funds from individuals. And once we start going, maybe the government might tap on the shoulder and say, please, I want to join in, And so, but despite all this, the government, no government, we still have to do our own part. Like I'm doing my own part in my state. Every year I make sure I bring in tennis balls and then you leave it there, you play and practice. And then within 4 years, we were able to find some juniors who are representing Nigeria in clay court. And what did I do? No, this is not even about me. I'm just saying individually, if we can start from our state and start helping all these children. I don't want them to be on the street. We don't want to raise another Yahoo boys and the rest of it. But we can start locally, state-wise on our own part. Like in my state, especially when the first lady was there, Akiri Dolu, she assisted me in the sense of monitoring all the tennis rackets and the balls. Because prior to that, I was sending in balls and rackets, and some people were just selling it, and using the money. But she was so nice. She monitored all the rackets in the sense that she would give a tennis racket and she would count all the balls. And then you have to return it back to her. And I applaud her if she's listening. So we were able to have a continuity of our rackets being there the next day, the tennis balls being the next day. So maybe all of us can start locally like that. And we are appealing to people who can afford. You can bring in tennis balls, use rackets for all these little minds. Personally, I'm trying to keep them off of the street and from them getting into drugs.
Much, Princess. That is where we are going to end it today. Thank you, Prof. This is just the beginning. The conversation will continue. And then probably when next you guys are in Nigeria, but before then, we'll be talking, but we'd like to bring you to the studio and let's see how we can build on this. Thank you so much. You can go back to sleep. I know we're already awake here.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you for being here.
And next time, you make sure you're playing tennis.
Yeah, you said so. I've got a racket.
Yeah, that's no excuse.
Thank you so much.
I would really love to see Ken.
Very interesting.
Then we have the sports trends. What is trending in sports?
During the course of the week, a Nigerian footballer reached out to Sevilla and asked that how many, that was on X, asking how many reposts would he need to get for him to get a free trial. And the Sevilla admin replied saying, 100,000.
Yeah.
And I probably thought it was a joke because about 48 hours later, he had gotten 100,000 reposts.
So is this Sevilla now for the trial?
No, that's where the conversation has come up because Sevilla now, I think they thought it was a joke because somewhere along the line, they now put up a link saying they're starting up a junior program, maybe they'll get to play in the third division, trials and whatnot. And Nigerians said, it's like, you think we are playing here? Because that was not what you said.
Yeah.
You said you were going to get a trial. And then we have a couple of Nigerians playing in Sevilla at the moment, talking about, I think,
and Akko Adams also making it,
Exactly. So we are hoping, but it just shows you what people can achieve when
the power of social media. Very, very important. And that's why we always talk about, leagues, different sports leagues, leveraging on technology and also making sure they understand the metric, the numbers. Very important.
The numbers, that is Yannick Sinner, that is the champion. This is Sinner's time.
He plays almost as if...
Is this Sinner the poet or Sinner the sinner? I'm Kenneth Chanagaba. Until next week, God bless Nigeria. We'll drop the pen.